Glenn Kirschner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
So it's time to wrap this case up, throw it out. If this judge wants any credibility back, that's what he should do. There should have been a directed verdict. There should have been a mistrial. You have Judge Merchan, who should have recused himself. Judge Merchan, who I want the American people to remember very astutely, has somehow randomly had Steve Bannon's case, had Alan Weisselberg's case, and now put Alan Weisselberg back in jail. Okay? This is what we're dealing with. Somehow he randomly also gets Donald Trump. That's not the way the system works. You assign a case randomly. That's the way it's supposed to work. God knows the press is tough on me, but I had their back in this one. They had no business kicking them out. And that judge is so crooked that he couldn't stand that there was bad evidence being brought in by this attorney who happened to work for the SDNY, let's not forget, who has a great stellar reputation, as you mentioned, but the judge lost his cool.
All right. Well, so Alina Habba is, thank you, is ridiculous. I mean, obviously, there's some good justice news, right? Trump's last-ditch push to derail hush money case fails. I guess he does this every time, right? He wanted Judge Merchan removed. That was denied. Peter Navarro gets another rejection from appeals court as he sits in prison. Thank you. Okay, so rule of law hanging by a thread this morning. What is your take on what's going to happen next week in the hush money trial?
So my take is that closing arguments are coming. So Donald, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because accountability is on the way. Steph, this is a common sense case, and the jurors bring their common sense into the deliberation process, right? Yeah. Defense attorneys often ask them to check their common sense at the courtroom doors. I always told my jurors, no, that's the most important tool you have to decide criminal cases. All of this, the hush money payments, the false business records, the catch and kill schemes were designed to benefit Donald Trump in his election unfairly and in violation of campaign finance and election laws. And the jury understands that intuitively. It's a common sense proposition.
Let's talk about that. The attorney general had to come out yesterday about Trump's claim that the FBI was authorized to kill him and that Biden was locked and loaded. He said it's extremely dangerous. The allegation's false, extremely dangerous. The document that's being referred to in the allegation is the Justice Department's standard policy limiting the use of force, as the FBI advises it is part of the standard operations plan for searches, and in fact was even used in the consensual search of President Biden's home. Doesn't matter once it's off and running in the right-wing fever swamps, right? And you know, we just had a lunatic that listened to Donald Trump and went to kill Nancy Pelosi because they didn't finish the job on January 6th.
Steph, we seem to be willing to forever endure Donald Trump inciting people to violence, and we choose to do nothing about it in a very real sense. We could detain him pending trial in any of his 4 criminal prosecutions, but we choose not to. I don't know why that is. But not only is it absolute BS that, Joe Biden launched an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Let me tell you, in every law enforcement situation, including the execution of search warrants, if the police are met with deadly force, lethal force, they can repel it with the use of deadly force. That's policing 101. So all of this is nonsense. But then, when I heard him at his Brooklyn or Bronx hate rally that he just held, suggests that all people living in tents are terrorists, immigrants who are terrorists. Yeah. What is the next thing we're going to see happen, Steph? Yeah. We're going to see everybody who is in a tent temporarily being attacked. We're going to have tents set on fire that will all be incited by Donald Trump. And we apparently will not do a damn thing about it.
Yeah. And one last headline I say for you, but again, why there has to be justice, as you always say, all the way from the suits to the boots. Multiple indicted Trump fake electors excited to offer their services again in 2024. Despite the prospect of facing a time in jail as part of a plot to overturn the 2020 election by committing fraud, multiple fake electors in 3 states are offering to duplicate their efforts in 2024 if called upon. At least 6 of Trump's supporters, several of whom are under indictment in their respective states, are seeking the position of elector again, in some cases because they think the charges against them are bogus, because of course they do. Yep. This is why there has got to be justice. These people have to go to jail. I mean, it's someone, I think it was Ruth Ben-Ghiat, our authoritarian scholar, was saying this is part of fascism, is you pardon all the criminals, you normalize lawlessness so that, they're back in again in a second Trump term to continue committing crime.
Yeah, and at least the Department of Justice has gone after the boots of the insurrection, and they're holding them accountable, but they haven't touched a single suit of the insurrection, the hierarchy, the command structure of the insurrection. And look, Steph, I know that my old professional home, the Department of Justice, can multitask, and I'm glad we might be paying a couple of dollars less for concert tickets moving forward. But how about some of the multitasking involve actually going after, for example, the members of Congress who asked for pardons, thereby confessing to their crimes, holding them accountable, so at least we send the message that this will not be tolerated just because you're wearing a suit or just because you're a person of privilege or power or influence. And until we do that, Steph, we are lost, and we will continue to flounder.
Yeah. And let me just say, Live Nation is our Sexy Liberal Tour partner. They've been great to us, and our ticket prices are lower than they were when we did it on our own, because we want everybody to. And also, you know what you get? Glenn Kirschner in a lot of cities.
Yeah.
For a lower, I mean, come on. Just don't go to scalpers.
Right.
That's a big problem.
Yes.
SexyLiberal.com. Glenn, we'll see you in Boston for Sexy Liberal. I can't wait. And then you never know where else Glenn's going to.
Maybe some more, Steph. We're going to talk. Maybe some more.
Oh, yeah.
Blink. Okay. Love you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
Steph.
You are invited to Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour. It's the political comedy event of the year, and it's coming to a city near you. Join Stephanie Miller, the queen of progressive talk radio, along with Hal Sparks, John Fugelsang, and the comedy duo Frangela, mocking all the fascists and trolls for a tour that is hilarious, inspiring, and deeply offensive to just the right people. It's an all-new tour with all-new guests and a side-splitting evening of stand-up. Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Save the World Tour.